Okay, we are live, 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, and just waiting for people to chime in on this very beautiful August day in New York City. Sadly, summer's coming to an end. Very disappointing. But then there will be more cool TV series to watch, so that's awesome. Come fall. Just seeing if the sound works. Everybody, can you hear me, guys? How's the sound? Quick thumbs up, then I get started. Yeah, it works? Okay. Outstanding. All right, let's get this going. So, what makes you successful as a bodybuilder is really two things: nutrition and activation. Meaning, the more effective you train, the better you will be. Okay? So the difference between a pro bodybuilder and, let's say, me is that it's not the drugs, is that this guy simply activates way more fibers than I do. So today I want to run through some exercises and show you some of the most common mistakes people make, thereby robbing themselves of the training success. Okay? So let's get started. We'll start with a simple overhead press here. So in an overhead press, what you need to consider is you need your delts engaged, right? So the first thing you got to do is an inward intention. If you see it from the front, you see if I just hold the bar like so, my delts don't work. In inward intention, the delts are flexed. Then I push it up. See how my delts are working? Whereas if I simply push it up, it becomes more of a tricep exercise. But with the inward intention, my delts work. Now, it's not bad doing a tricep exercise. It's just not what I want to do. Okay? So, shoulder press, inward intention. Then comes the bent over row. The bent over row, there's two grips. It can be overhanded or under. Underhanded, you can involve the biceps, which gives you a little bit more pulling power. And you're pulling it into the stomach. The back is about 45 degrees. Any higher, and you're not really working your mid-back, but more your upper. Again, that's not right or wrong. It's just what you want to do. Personally, I prefer pendlay rows. So in a pendlay row, it's like this. Row, full stop. Row, full stop. So this way, there's no momentum. Make sense? Everybody? Good. Dips. Dips is, again, you gotta make up your mind. There's two ways you can do them. Triceps or chest. So triceps would be feet up, feet out front, toes pulled up. Chest would be chin tucked, leaning forward. If you're doing something like this, then you're doing a little bit of chest, a little bit of tries, nothing really. So, those are those. Now, for the bench. I'm doing a little bit of an decline here. The bench often gets murdered. A proper bench is all about setup. Meaning, you go under, and the first thing you do is a pullover. So you're bringing it here. So you activate your lats. Then you have an inward intention. You go a fist above the chest and you drive it up. Don't lock it out. It's bodybuilding, not powerlifting. So, yeah. Sorry, my leg is really bugging me, as you can see. The pullover does two things. It activates the lats. So people forget, well, the lats for the bench? What the F, Mike? The lats are sort of a spring. You squeeze the spring, you release the spring. Secondly, the pullover gets you away from benching to the neck and benching too high. So it assures that your shoulders are protected. So, to reiterate, pull over, lowering to the chest, and then squeeze till about here. If you could, you would bend the bar like so, together. Okay? If you're simply pushing the weight up and down, you're doing more shoulder, elbow, front deltoid work. No chest work, which is a waste. Now, let's talk biceps. A lot of times, I go to a gym and I see this. So, the first motion comes from the shoulder, in this case, which means the bicep never got activated. So this person is not really accomplishing anything. So my advice is just to be on the really safe side. Don't sit, sort of position yourself like so. Now you really can't thumbs go under, and you can't really cheat. As always, have an outward intention, because that's how the biceps flex, not an inward, and put the thumb under. The thumb has pulling power, so when you fatigue, you can bring it back in. But for the time being, when you start out, you go without. Okay? Whenever you curl something, make sure you're not using your shoulders, because you're not training shoulders. Now, the lat pull down, one of the most misunderstood exercises. Most of the time, it looks like this. So I call this the human teeter-totter. The human goes down, the weight goes up, human goes. It accomplishes nothing. I prefer have my feet back, or if you're very tall, sit on the floor. The first motion comes from your shoulder blades. Now you activate the lats. And then you pull the elbows to the rib cage. Very controlled, no whipping, no jerky movements, just from here to here. So, shoulder blades go, and then the elbows. Also, despite what YouTube tells you, I prefer light grip. All this just makes it a bicep curl. So let's talk about seated cable rows. Same thing you often see. It's like row your boat, okay? A lot of movement, very little results. First of all, again, light grip. I like to have my thumbs up here, almost like a PlayStation, or whatever that's called these days. And then you bring the shoulder blades back, you flex your lats, and now you bring the elbows into the rib cage. Tuck, flex. So you put the shoulders back and down, and you imagine that there's some sort of a string going through your head to the ceiling, which can't really be moved. So you wouldn't be whipping. Okay? So, not sure about your gym, but I noticed that in my gym at least, rear delt flies have become insanely popular. That isn't a bad thing, we need them, but people do them wrong. So often you see, oops, what am I doing? You see something like if you are very upright and straight in the beginning, you're training your mid-back. You need to start rounded, move from the elbows and the elbows only, and then train your rear delts. So, you stay rounded, and then you straighten. You're not straight from the beginning. That's a big difference. Again, what do you want to train? Mid-back or rear delts? Then the pec deck is a good machine if used properly. So this should be not need an explanation, but your shoulders should be the same height as the handles. Shouldn't be higher or lower. Since you're training chest, you must pinch your shoulder blades. And then you drive it together. But even as you come forward, you don't go like this. Stay back. A lot of times people collapse their elbows and do something like this. It's a bad idea, don't do that. So, elbows stay high, and you keep the shoulder blades pinched, and you squeeze tight. Here you can squeeze all the way because it's a machine. So the resistance stays. Then let's talk medial delts. Leaning side raises, people, it's often this. If you do this, you're doing a shrug, which is great, want bigger traps, but if you're in the market for rounder delts, it's not a good idea. So, light grip, none of this, light. Then, pull from the elbow, as if there's a string in your elbow, and you move up and out. Elbow, 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 in and out. Up and out. Don't move the shoulder up, just keep it steady. This next one is a bit of a lesser known, but I actually really like it. It's the stiff arm pull down. A lot of people do it like this. The problem is here you can't really flex your lats. This is all purpose exercise. So you want to go into a long stretch, and then as you come in, you flex. Long stretch, flex. Long stretch, stand up, squeeze tight. So here, for those of you that ever swam butterfly or so, that would be the finishing position, and you can really flex your lats. Or for bodybuilder, stand relaxed. Whereas if you're down here, you can't really get that type of tricep press down. So you noticed I have like a longer rope, which my gym thankfully has. Most ropes are too short. So if your gym has only those, I recommend you take 2 of those. So if you have the longer rope, you can actually travel by the body and fully contract. The biggest mistake is this, leaning forward. Leaning forward makes it a delt exercise. Okay? You have to stay upright to get the proper squeeze. If you can't do that, guess what? It's too heavy. It is. So, tricep press downs, staying upright. Seated shoulder press. Ear level, and you must drop the thumbs. If the thumbs are straight, again, you're doing a tricep press. It's not wrong, not your goal. Thumbs go down, semicircle, and you're getting your shoulders involved. From there on, there's obviously variations. Could do the Arnold press, could do the Aaron's press, but the principle doesn't change. Last exercise is one that I don't like. Upright rows, they're bad for the shoulders and the elbows, but I like V pulls, where you stand, slightly lean forward, and you pull upward and outward. Same idea. If you do this, it's a shrug. Light grip and move from the elbows. Strings in the elbows that go up and out. So those are, I couldn't demonstrate legs today, guys, because it's really quite painful. Hopefully next week will be better. When training, check your ego. Nobody cares what you can lift. The only thing that matters is, what do you look like? And to get there, you have to activate fibers and not get injured. Proper training will make sure of both of these. Okay? As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to the cameraman Joel. Thanks to Muscle Mania for sharing. And we'll see you soon. Bye.